Let's do it. New intro. Come on, play the music. All right, let's go.
Here we go.
Oh, I like it.
Welcome to Bible Proof.
Bible Proof.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
That's right.
Topic unknown.
So we like to taste bourbons. You know that.
That's right.
You listened to episode 1. If you didn't, go back and listen to it.
Go back and listen to it.
I feel like it needs some lyrics.
Hit it.
Chicken! Bourbon! Talking! Chickens! Got your bourbon, your chicken, chicken the bourbon and tucking the chicken.
And it ended. That was very... Oh, I like that. That was
we have
beautiful.
3 good voices here, too. Like, everyone but me.
No, you can sing. You can sing.
No,
No,
can't sing.
you say you can't.
I'll
sing.
figure it
try,
out.
You're
but I can't.
Mm.
Anyways,
That
we
was
got
a great intro.
our first little tasting here. That was a
That
good
would not have
intro.
happened unless I'd already had 3 glasses.
Now you know
beautiful.
what episode 1 is about. If you didn't
Episode
listen to
1
it.
just ended, and we're just hopping right into episode
Recap.
2. Boundstone, which is I believe it's a fairly new up-and-coming distillery.
Sounds like a rock band.
Yeah, I think that's the distillery it's made out of. That's the name of the bourbon, at least. It hails from Harrodsburg, Kentucky,
That's where
bottled
bourbon
by
comes from.
Kentucky Whiskey Bottling. Age minimum of 4 years. This is the Bondstone cask strength at 62.5% alcohol by volume, which my math majors would be 125 proof.
Whoa.
So the last one we did was the Basil Hayden Toast, which is an 80 proof. We got a big bump up here. So we're going to feel it a little bit more. And this one is a full-bodied high rye bourbon, crafted and distilled in the heart of Kentucky. Uniquely smooth, bold, and complex, Bondstone features a panoply of rich and diverse flavors. Its spiciness is
What was
complemented
that
by...
word?
Yeah, new one.
I think it was Monopoly with a P.
P-A-N-O-P-L-Y. Panoply.
Monopoly.
Spiciness is complemented by a diverse medley of vanilla,
Pretty sure that's
cinnamon,
how my
and honey
girlfriend
notes that
spelled her
cultivate in a
name back
rich,
in high
clean
school,
finish.
but we just called her Penelope.
So
I missed the whole... So we got a Panoply. We got some spice.
there should be a little more spice from the rye. That's what rye does.
We're gonna
makes
nose it?
spicier. We're gonna nose it
We're going to nose it.
because we're gentlemen of the order.
I'm looking up the definition of Penelope.
Please. I need to know.
Pan. What does pan mean?
Pan.
Everything.
Pam. I think you can solve this Pam
So it's a
problem.
Pam dilemma.
cornucopia of nose and flavor?
I don't know.
I sound stupid?
It's all encompassing.
I
don't know what it means. I just guessed.
You're the ones wearing tuxedos to an interview that requires you to clean bathrooms.
Yeah, no, that just seems a little.
Yeah. All right. Now the tuxedo seem a little fucked up.
So I was thinking if
I was like, wait, are we
ketchup?
swearing on this or not?
I was just going to say, so
I think we should.
Ketchup
I
and
think we need
onions?
to address that.
We have to be ourselves.
We have to be ourselves. I
So
also
fuck
had an
it.
idea.
We'll do it live.
Oh, Panoply's a sweet word. Listen to this. A splendid, impressive, or wide-ranging collection of things, originating from the Greek term for a full suit of armor.
I was pretty close. I said all
Helmet.
encompassing.
Shield, greaves, breastplate is commonly used to describe an extensive array of items or a magnificent comprehensive display.
Nice.
Panoply is now my new favorite word
Panoply.
in the vocabulary.
Great.
What a nice
Wait,
Panoply
so after
you
hearing
have
all
there.
that, how do we use that in a sentence? Give me the first line of that again. It's basically
It's all-encompassing.
all-encompassing.
Yeah.
It's a great number of things.
This podcast is a panoply
Of
Of
subjects.
of topics.
Sure as hell
like
gonna
it.
be.
That's right.
We just talked about chickens, bourbon, and Lent.
So
And
here's what
Matthew
I say.
17.
On the swearing topic, I had an idea. When we get video, probably, we need to find, we will do an episode where we can't swear. And we need some kind of hilarious punishment, probably painful, for when one of us does. And then
Thank you, sir. May I
that
have
happens.
another?
Well, not weird, just like hilarious.
Okay, so here's what it's going to be. It's going to be Ryan doing a windmill clock to your jaw.
Well,
Oh, that was a
Oh
little
wait, he did that
excessive.
before.
thinking more like a-
that
like a-
happened
He was
once.
famous.
I
Like
was
a
famous.
really
You
hard-
could find it.
yeah, you
It's
Fake
on
Fake was
YouTube.
terribly wrong.
Yep. I
Lots
still
A lot
search
of
it, so
people
I
wanted to
can't
fight
find
me
it.
after that.
That's absolutely true.
You're open to try now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look that up if you're curious.
That's
There's
right.
a palm tree in the background.
That's
Then
right.
you'll know it's the right one.
You know it's the right one.
All right, what are
What's
we
the name of this
nosing?
YouTube
What are we
video?
smelling here? Fake FICO's terribly
seen-
wrong.
Have you seen it?
think I have.
you
I think,
have
I think I
seen it.
have.
You have
I
to
think
have
I
seen
have.
it.
Oh, it's,
I just want to drink
it's
this
gruesome.
and no one will listen to me.
I'm
All
listening.
right.
I'm li-
We're
We're,
sniffing.
marvel-
We're sniffing
we're
now.
marveling
Can
at
you
your
put your nose in your glass
punching
further?
power.
Now do it with your mouth open.
I'm gonna go with.
Pause.
Hold on. I'm gonna go with.
Pause.
It's a bourbon.
Kevin needs to say this every
He's really-
episode.
he's
every
really
time
good
we
at this.
host.
Kevin's right.
Kevin's right.
I'm getting better.
It definitely has less of the like sweetness. It still has it, but it has more. I don't know good words for this. You can kind of smell the spiciness. It obviously has the caramels and stuff, but it's not as light and sweet. As
No,
the
it's
last
not.
one.
Wow.
It's not bright like
Okay.
the basil. It's a darker.
Right.
It's a darker feel in the nose.
I would
has-
describe this as much more of an experience than the
Yes.
last one.
I'm
This
still
is-
tasting it.
You're sitting in a dark room, like a wood, a lot of wood
yeah.
and leather, and
Yeah.
like you know what I'm talking about.
Rich mahogany.
Yes, leather bound
the,
books.
And suddenly,
The finish goes on.
Leather-bound books.
you're
The finish goes
encompassed
on.
by a panoply.
That's right.
This gives you the old Kentucky hug, which is the burn down.
Yeah.
The old esophageal.
It's still not that bad, but there's definitely more spice to
I
it.
prefer a little something to
I
it.
feel like this is thicker.
Yeah.
It's syrupy.
Kind of makes your mouth water too a little bit because it's got all the 125 proof. Nope. Here he goes.
So what's interesting though about the proofs is if you had something beforehand, and you and I spoke
Yes.
about this off air, is if you had something to drink prior to drinking a high proof bourbon, the burn isn't as bad. You can actually taste a lot more flavor because you've already sort of numbed.
yeah. Had this been bourbon 1,
Sure,
you
that makes
taste
sense.
it
would've-
less
it would've
and it
burned
would
more.
burn more.
Sure.
And part of the reason is even your second sip will be more enjoyable because your mouth salivates and then that blocks a little bit of that burn that your tongue is going to feel. Kevin,
Why do you do that?
I'm getting ready to hit him.
Do it.
He's about to turn into a
A new YouTube video. Let me get this wrong.
Donkey Kong.
That's right.
Oh man, where is it? You got a punch sound effect?
No.
But the taste, there's a lot of taste here. I'm having a hard time picking out a lot of like specific actual flavors. It definitely has more of that kind of rye spiciness, less of the caramel, that like the peanut
See,
that
I'm gonna go with
tasted.
the caramel on this one.
Well, it still has it, but it's not not as sweet and light.
No, it's not. It's not.
Everything
like
has caramel and bourbon, but
Yeah,
it's like a darker caramel.
I always get.
There
If
was
I'm
a
gonna
heavy
pick
vanilla
How about
in the basils. This is less of that vanilla.
caramel, maple, vanilla, right? That's what I seem to.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna pick something out of most bourbons, I feel like that's what I'm getting.
This caramel's like deeper, like you kind of cooked it on the stove
It's
top
dark,
with a
man.
little molasses
Yep.
and kind of darkened it up a little bit.
It's the kind of caramel that, you know.
Oh my god! Stop.
You know what's great? Is I have this thing right here. It's,
Oh no!
it's a mixer that I could turn them off, and we don't have to hear the mouth noises.
And subscribers plummet.
Thanks. Thanks. That's great.
Turns out we had a lot of people listening just for Kevin taste noises.
Is this an OnlyFans channel? Just mouth noises? What is this?
You know what I want? I want that
is it, some
spelled out.
ASMR or
I want
whatever?
that spelled out on a T-shirt. I want you to spell that sound.
Get a full half hour of Kevin tasting on his tongue, and then straight 30 minutes of somebody saying the word moist.
I can taste it. I can taste it on my tongue. Is that onions? Ketchup? Onions and ketchup?
The two words that my wife hates are panties and moist, and they go quite well together. So I use them whenever I can.
Why panties?
I don't know. She doesn't like it.
Panties.
Now,
Got some moist panties over there.
So you're just like,
Not anymore.
honey, hold on, I gotta fold your undergarments.
So yeah, what does she refer to him as?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just
underwear,
underwear?
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, who calls them that? That's for like old ladies. I'm like, no, it's not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Panties?
I feel like
Panties,
Well,
are,
like
panties are like sexier than
Pantyhose are kind of
Right.
old lady, yeah.
panties.
Bloomers.
Bloomers. Gotta look at my knickers. my bloomers, my garters.
Underwear. That's how Grayson's learning the letter U. He, in their classroom, they say, you unicorn, underpants. And it works because he thinks it's hilarious and he says it all the time.
They'll remember that.
Underpants are funny.
They should just teach kids to read with like potty language.
Oh, yeah, for
They
sure.
it'd
learn
be
it so
fast.
fast.
Yep.
It'd be so fast.
Especially if they're boys. Yep.
Is that bare naked ladies?
Toot.
Where he's,
Yep.
I'll hide here, you hide
Yeah,
under
yeah.
there.
Just made it say underwear. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can hide out under there. Yep. That's a good one.
Ooh, we should have Kevin bring a guitar and we should mix in just
Matt discussed
sing-alongs with Kevin.
I have one he could plug in right now.
this. Nah. It has to be spontaneous. It's not going to work out if I try to plan it.
No, there's no planning.
not
That's
planned.
what this is. You just,
I
if you
suppose
just
this is
if you
spontaneous.
just held a guitar and started doing stuff while
We'll see.
you could do it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Kevin's
What if
a
we just
musician.
what if you just brought one, always have it in your hands, and then
Just in case.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, not even. It's just like we're talking, and then you're strumming, and
That's my bedtime alarm. Sorry,
Oh.
I'm hooked up on the.
It's Matt's
it's like,
bedtime.
oh, that's a
It's-
button.
Yeah, no, it's actually on my
I liked it.
my phone alarm, and every night at this point I'm actually asleep on the couch.
Usually for me, it's.
So that's your alarm to be like, hey, Matt, get
Hey,
off the couch and go
Go
to
to
bed.
bed.
Do you hit snooze so that you don't go to bed?
Never. I always go to bed. Oh, I'm out.
But you could hit snooze to stay on the couch and not go to
Can we
bed.
talk about sleeping? How awesome is that, right?
It's actually a great thing.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I feel like I'm at a party. I'm just so damn excited. I'm like, I can go back
Bed.
into this sleep vessel that we call bed. And I have an oversized blanket that I need because we turn the fan on.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's so awesome. Oh my gosh.
So do you ever get did you guys ever have sleep anxiety, like when you wake up
all the time.
before your alarm and you're like, oh, I have an hour and I'm
Yeah,
not going to be
oh,
able
for
to get
sure.
to sleep.
For sure.
I wake up with an hour left. I'm like, or with 5 minutes before my alarm. I'm like,
I'm going.
sweet.
Yeah.
I get to go back to
Yeah,
bed
I
for
remember
5 more
that.
minutes.
Sometimes
I'm more
I'm
like
there.
that. The only time I have it is if I'm not used to waking up because I was on a late schedule, and then it's like, oh, I have to wake up, or even just whatever. Something's early that is earlier than normal. Like, oh my gosh, I gotta fall asleep because I have to wake up. And then it's like the initial going to bed, and that's like 2 hours of
That's tough. See, and
sweating,
Emily's the
tossing
opposite
and
because
turning.
we'll wake up like sometimes like 35 minutes before we have to wake up. And she'll be like, oh, you might as well get up. I'm like, no.
No.
No, we might as well
You
not.
can get up.
You know what that just reminded me of? No.
Yes,
Why would you?
yes, I do.
Because it's not. It's
What is that from?
it's different because it's not the same.
No, because
no idea what you're talking about.
this it's though, and then you add a T to though, and it's obviously thought.
Because it is.
That's a YouTube. Okay, it's a YouTube guy.
He does that with everything.
He does it with a lot of
Oh,
things,
man.
but I think it started with the English language.
Oh, because
Because none of it makes sense.
and
sure.
he'd be like,
Why would you? It's not. It's
It's
just
just-
this.
how dare
because
you.
that's the way it is.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
You get
trying
it?
to teach your kids how to spell is ridiculous.
yeah.
All right, let's take a step back.
Sometimes I like we'll go through Nora's spelling words, and sometimes they have like a little preface about how to what those words are focused on or whatever, and then there'll be a random one in there, and she'll be like, "Why is that?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why it's like that.
Hard to
It
say.
just is.
English language is
It is.
very strange.
Yep.
Every other
mean-
language has rules that it abides by.
Right.
But
And-
take like though, THOUGH is one he does.
Right, and thought.
It's like, so spell this, thug. No. See, the G and the H are silent, so it's though. It's like, oh, okay. And then now you add the T to the end.
Though.
Thoat.
Yeah,
No. Why? Because it's thought. It's like, okay, we'll
You
try
don't
another
see
one.
it's because it's the T makes it sound like
Makes
the
it sound like
thaw,
a thought.
because that's the way that it is.
That's the way it is. But
And
now we
that's
get
the
rid of
only-
the T and we add a R. Thraw.
No.
Through.
So true, dude. So true.
That's right.
I hope we have someone one day that
Through,
listens
though,
to
and
this.
thought. All the same base sounds of everything.
And
Gross.
completely
With
different.
one little letter changes and it doesn't split any vowels or anything.
So this brings up an interesting point. When language is translated, words don't mean the same thing.
Right.
Not even close.
Right.
So let's rope that conversation to the book that we talk about.
I knew you were
Okay.
going there, buddy.
Gosh,
Right.
what a segue, right? Okay, so we
Would it be
had,
nice if we all just understood Hebrew and
if
Greek?
we knew the Hebrew
Oh my god.
and knew the Greek, we
Because
would,
how much more sense does it make?
I think it would
One
be
word,
so
they'll
much-
just be like, "Oh, in Hebrew, this word means this," and you're like, "Well, now it makes sense. Why didn't they just say that when they translated it?"
right.
Oh my goodness.
And then we have this weird language called English that doesn't make any sense at all. It's very hard to describe things. There's like in other languages, the word love means many different things.
For sure.
Right?
Brotherly love.
Agape.
Phile. Agape is
Right.
Agape
unconditional
is
love.
the
Unconditional
selfless.
love.
yeah.
Right. So
There's two others. There's four total in Latin.
right. And so we have
Is that Latin?
one word
It's not Latin.
that's called love, and we think of it
Probably
in
Greek.
Yeah.
one way.
Yeah.
You know,
does not.
it's a romantic love, right? And that's
Or is it?
or
I love
right.
you, man.
See, when a
Right,
dude says
Philae.
that, I realize like that is not. I still can't bring myself to say it.
There's a sensual, sexual
seems
type
Yeah.
of
weird,
love too.
It seems weird. But like,
I don't have a problem. Like, you know,
Like,
when,
there
you're,
is-
when you're heading out for the evening,
see,
like,
that's
hey,
a good point
love,
though.
Love you, brother.
There should be a brotherly love word. That means
we-
I love you, but I don't want to have sex with you.
Well,
You know
that
what I
is
mean?
done
Like,
with context.
When we get
and,
ready to leave tonight,
yeah.
we'll just all be like, Philadelphia.
there it is.
It's done with tone of voice
Philadelphia.
and with physical,
The
like how
very
you basically how you portray it
Bro
changes
love.
how it is.
Philadelphia.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I like. I
Love
don't.
you, man.
Like, I,
Love
I-
you, man.
Yeah, when I give my buddies hugs, I'm like, love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
yeah.
You say brother after it, and then
Jeff's a love you guy.
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
it's what you say when you're not about to rub their back, right?
Right.
I love you, brother.
Yes, if you're
You-
loving,
you
if you're
pat
rubbing their back, then
yeah, yeah.
that changes things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a handshake.
If you had been in episode 1 cuddling Matt for the first time,
And you said I love you.
wow, you're so warm. I love you. That would have been a pause moment.
Context.
It's a little weird.
I like it. Good point. Oh, I gotta pee so bad.
go pee.
Hold on, I have one more thing to say on the topic of translation. One of the interesting things, though, is with the Bible and its original translation, even though languages don't always specifically translate word for word, the translation is super, super accurate with the Bible. The more and more they find stuff, the more and more they find that it's just correct, like 99.8%.
Dead Sea
There's a
Scrolls.
few things here and there that are a little off, or like that, like what we talked about, Matthew, 17, verse 21, I think, is some manuscripts have had it, some don't. Super tiny things, nothing that has ever changed the
complete
core of it.
context.
point
Yeah,
or
absolutely not.
context of anything.
Yep.
Maybe a word here and there. And then you have like the Dead Sea Scrolls, like you were saying. The whole book of Isaiah
What a
is in the
win
Dead
for
Sea Scrolls. What a win.
Christianity.
Like,
oh my
that's-
gosh, you know.
Crazy, because
Yeah.
those go back to predating Daniel's time.
Right.
And
So hands down, a document that was proven to be written well before Jesus predicts Jesus.
yes.
Done.
And yeah, there's stuff that's being said that's just
Yep.
so prophetic. And then, so
Are they
part of the
before
reason-
Jesus though?
What?
The Dead Sea Scrolls are before Jesus?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I might be wrong when I said predating Daniel.
We
I'm
gotta
going to
figure
look
this
that
out.
up.
Yeah, we gotta figure this out.
But
This
while
is
you
important.
look that up, when they might not have been predating Daniel.
I wish I would have made a copy of your the notes when I borrowed Case for Christ.
Oh,
from
yeah.
you, and I read that. And
Yeah.
you had your notes tucked in there. I should have made copies of that.
It's a great book. But The people back originally, way back before there was a whole bunch of written stuff, they did everything orally and they were just way better at it. Think about what teenagers are like right now with all of their social media, and think of the skills that we have not having everything on our phone at instant disposal, and the things that we know how to just pick up and remember, but they don't because they don't have to, because everything's right here.
Yeah.
And
They
think
can't
about
remember
what
their
we've
locker
lost
combination and
compared to
Right.
what
That's my
previous
point.
generations.
And go back to
Storytellers,
4,000,
yeah.
6,000 years ago when everything was oral. Like, think they were very well versed in passing on oral history fairly
You place the
accurately.
importance on it, though, because that was the only way.
That
Right.
was the only way.
And then once you started getting into the era of it being actually documented
Written.
and scribed,
Yeah.
there was a group of people, I forget where this is along the Bible context, but their whole job was just to copy like the Bible, and they had to get it word for word right. If they
Letter
had
for
one
letter.
off, they had to redo the entire page.
It was a way bigger deal.
So it was a
than we
huge
think of
deal.
it. Yep.
And
And they weren't idiots. That's the other thing. We think of like, oh, people back then, they weren't as smart.
They're smart.
They were smart. Quick AI overview. The Dead Sea Scrolls were primarily written between the 3rd century BC and the 1st century AD. So, can we find when Isaiah is? Because I mean, that's huge, right?
well,
Like,
obviously Isaiah's before then. These are the Dead Sea
well,
Scrolls.
the
were
Dead
not-
Sea Scroll version of Isaiah, because that's the thing there. Like, someone could argue, oh, they just changed it to fit Jesus. But if you have a document that's dated as being written well before Jesus, and
This
no
is
one
well
argues,
before Jesus.
well, yeah, 3 BC. But I'm just saying, because it also says that a couple of them were AD 68. So if Isaiah is one of those that was BC,
Isaiah was.
I think it was.
It was.
Yeah,
I know it
yeah,
was.
Yeah.
I think my Daniel comment was wrong. There was
still,
something else
that
that had in the back of my mind that had to do with Daniel and a dating thing.
Yeah.
Because I think Daniel was.
Well,
like
Daniel's
the
a hard one.
5th
There's a
century.
big argument about when Daniel was written too. At least that's what I've definitely heard commentary
yeah.
on that. There's 200
maybe
versus
that's what I'm thinking
like
of.
700, I think, or something like that.
Well, Daniel becomes so I wish I had notes, but you go through like all the conquering kings and then Greece and the kings here, and you have this king was killed by this son-in-law. I don't remember the who's who, but and then generals took over, and it's super, super, super accurate that like liberal historians just say, yeah, that's fake because it's too accurate. There's no way they don't believe in God. So there's no way that this was written prior to these things happening. It was clearly written because
Afterwards.
of how accurate it is. There's so much that we read and we just kind of breeze over in Daniel, but it's incredibly accurate stuff.
Yeah.
Had to be divine.
Yep.
So these are from
All right, we got ourselves a little snack,
A snack
but we're gonna try and keep the chewing noises down to a minimum. Kevin,
I'm going to start punching you next time you do it.
and obviously before we eat, we're gonna pray.
Was that the Halo theme song? I think it was.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together today for this communion of brotherhood that we have, talking about you, Lord Jesus Christ, and how you bless us in our lives, and all the good things that come of your sacrifice in our lives, and the abundance that you bring to us through that. We are eternally grateful for all of the blessings of family and health and community that you give us, and we want to take this time to glorify you and enjoy the camaraderie of brotherhood in Christ, and enjoy the time to learn and grow as we discuss our world and our lives together. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
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 Let's eat.
So what we have in front of us is a nice little spread.
A smorgasbord, if you will.
a little.
What do you
unleavened
have
bread.
for us today, Matt?
Well, made a little sourdough unleavened bread.
Is it actually unleavened bread?
It's not really unleavened bread. It's just I didn't have it rise into a nice ball and all that stuff.
It's barely leavened bread.
It's got a little.
Isn't leaven yeast? Isn't that the?
Yes, but sourdough has.
There's no yeast added, I bet.
I did not add yeast to this, and it's a dense bread, so it is sort of an unleavened situation.
So good.
Jeff, what'd you bring us? Oh, and with the slightly leavened but
little
mostly
spicy.
unleavened bread, we have melted butter and honey. Jeff,
Shout out to Weiss Meats, Big Bend, Wisconsin. Purchased a couple different summer sausages from them this afternoon.
Our first sponsor.
Yeah. One is a sassy barbecue with cheddar. The other is a Hungarian mix, which features more paprika.
I tried the barbecue. Delicious.
Tell you what,
A little bit of a kick, which I
put
love.
it on the bread.
It's not that much, but it's got a little something there. I'm about to do something dirty and just bring up how Matt had a great story he was starting, which I hope that he will tell, so I can sit here and eat
No,
food.
I have a mouthful. I have a mouthful of bread and honey. But the good Lord provides.
We can't forget what we were talking about though. What were we were getting into something.
Daniel.
And then I had to tinkle.
Daniel.
Okay.
The paprika actually has a little bit of kick on the back end, too.
It's good.
Here they recently decided to add more hops.
Hibbity hop it is.
So if you go to now I don't have all the my notes and stuff in front of me, but if you go to Daniel 11, the kings of the south and the north, and then it talks about, as for me in the first year of Darius the Mede, I stood up to confirm and strengthen him. And behold, now I will show you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings shall arise in Persia, and a 4th shall be far richer than all of them. And when he has become strong through his riches, he shall stir up against the kingdom of Greece. And this is era of the old movie 300. I forget where exactly in this scenario it is, but that all happened during Daniel's time when the Persians were taking over the world and attacked the Spartans in Greece. And you have the famed 300 that held them off for a while, and then Greece obviously was able to overcome them. But if you take if you look in the historical notes, okay, there's 3 kings. The 4th is far richer. They literally have names for these people. And then you go to the king of the south. There's a name for him. And then you go to the next chapter and next chapter. And it's literally just the lineage of this era and time and these people. And it's so insanely accurate. And like I said, historians are yep, that was definitely written afterwards because it's way too accurate. But
But it's in the Dead
I
Sea
don't
Scrolls,
think so.
right?
That's the book of Isaiah.
Yeah.
We just kind of got on another tangent of Daniel. But
Yeah. So is it just Isaiah? I thought it was a lot of Old Testament.
no, there's more. There's more than just that. But it has the entire book of Isaiah. And just to further show how the translation
Sure.
and how accurate everything is, without that, we have obviously our current version of Isaiah, and that was completely accurate to the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were actually predating Jesus' time. I looked it up, not predating Daniel. That was a misspeak on me on accident. But
But still predating
Shame.
Jesus, and they talk about Jesus, which is amazing.
it really has nothing to do with Daniel. It has to do with Jesus and the prophetic words of him, and it predates Jesus, which is why it's, like you said, cool.
Why it's a big deal.
Isaiah 53,
1947 they found it?
something like that. Matt's happy.
Pretty good.
There's nothing like fresh bread.
It's true.
It is delicious.
So some
Oh, I was going to say something about bread earlier. What were you talking about, bread? You're saying something about, back when we were talking about how other countries like make their bread every day. And now think of how popular sourdough is
Italy.
and how much healthier it is. There are a lot of people that are not glucose. What's the word? Help me out.
Gluten.
Gluten, like Jeff. A little gluten intolerant. Maybe this doesn't work for you, but a lot of people that are actually gluten intolerant and then they eat like a good sourdough bread or something from overseas, and they can handle it because it hasn't gone through all the pesticides and
Or just-
crap and whatever that are,
Any flour-based product.
yeah,
Italy especially.
anything that our America throws in it. But now we do have a huge sourdough kick, which my wife has done. And now this was a baby of hers. Offspring was given to Matt's wife
We have two, actually.
and your wife, and we're all making sourdough pretty consistently, and that's literally all the bread that we eat.
We started our own, and then we moved. And we left our little sourdough monster at home. So now we have Ryan's sourdough.
Yep. And mine dates to like 1700s in England,
That's kind of cool.
and so does yours.
It's an old monster.
It is an amazing process how that it works. I mean, there's the natural yeast has continued in that lineage, right? And continues to reproduce. And anyone who has seen a sourdough starter jar, it is a monster.
It's a monster.
It
Trying to
it doesn't-
escape.
Does not take long for it to just explode out of the jar.
Pop that top right off.
Like Venom.
Yeah. Bubbling and nasty looking.
And you have to, quote, feed it.
Yes. Well, it's a living organism, so it's cool.
I think Venom is sourdough.
Whoa. There's an episode.
Oh boy.
But it is one of those cool things that just happens. A lot of that happens naturally. I found wild grapes in our yard. We had a year that they harvested like a ton of them, and they weren't that great to taste. And I was like, I'm going to try to make wine. And I did. And it was a lot of work, and the wine sucked because the grapes didn't taste good.
Yeah.
But I still did it. And I was watching a lot of videos on it. And I saw this dude, like the authentic older Italian guy who makes his own wine all the time. You know, he does it is he just mashes the grapes and then strains it out and lets it sit. He doesn't even add yeast. And it's just the yeast in the air that turns it into wine.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. And that's how sourdough gets its yeast. There's just a ton of yeast all over in the air and then floating around essentially.
Damn.
I mean, that makes sense. There's tons of microorganisms all over the place.
Yep. Just one of the many things of God's creation that are right there ready to be had and used. And most people don't know about them or even use them, but they're there. Now, Matt,
Yes.
now that you've finished your bread,
For now.
you were telling
Round
us a
one.
good story about a buck you shot this fall.
I did shoot a buck.
Let's hear it.
Yes. So, okay. Anybody who is a hunter, you know that there's a certain time in November where bucks are stupid. And they just do crazy stuff. And what's interesting, so there's a part of the story that I missed that when I was telling it earlier that now I remember and I can tell you about it. So I was about to leave the house, and I think it was like November 10th or 11th, somewhere in there, maybe the 12th. And I had told my wife I was going hunting early in the day, and that I would be out in the stand by like 12:30, 1 o'clock. And so I got all my gear ready. I threw everything in the truck. My daughter said, "Dad, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to shoot Mr. Big." She goes, "Isn't that what you said last time?" I was like, "Yeah, but I'm actually going to shoot Mr. Big right now." She's like, "Okay." So I get in the truck and I'm driving down the road and I see this buck sitting in a field that is just west of, well, you guys will know this, the bypass going south to where my dad's farm is, by the, just before, actually right across from your old apartment, the cornfields up there.
Oh, yeah.
So I was driving past there. I saw a good buck in that field, and I was like, "Oh, I know who owns that field." I should call them and see if I could just shoot that deer. And I was like, no, that deer's going to get hit by a car because the field is real close to the road. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna go hunt, and I bet you that deer's going to be dead. So I go out to the farm, and I'm on my way to the farm. I'm just the property just north of my dad's 80-acre property has
Matt, for the millions of listeners, can you just describe or explain where your father's farm is?
Yes, it's in Waukesha County. It is south of Waukesha in Wisconsin, and
Thank you.
it is in the village of Waukesha. Actually,
Not to be confused with the city.
correct. It's-
Absolutely not.
Or the town, which is what it previously was up to about 2 years ago.
That's
Wow.
right. That's right. Any case, so I was driving down the road, and there's a new development. There was a farm that was there as a 90-acre farm that's now being turned into a neighborhood. And as I was driving south, south, I saw this buck sitting or kind of trotting across the neighborhood as it like this development area just north of my dad's farm. And so I'm in the truck. I'm like, hey, this deer's going to cross my dad's property. I know where it's going to go. There's a tree line that's just east of where this buck is kind of directed to. So I know he's going to go into that, and he's going to go down the hill into the ravine, and he's going to go across the property this way. And I said, okay, if I get to the opposite side of the barn on the south side of the property, I can probably cut him off when he gets there. So I pull into the south driveway. I'm in my gray hoodie. I had got my camo pants on. I leave my truck running. I grab my bow, grab my release. I jump out of the truck, leave the truck running, door wide open, and I see the deer coming back behind my dad's greenhouse. He's going towards the tree line just as I thought it was going to be. So I stop him, with the old meh, the old meh sound. In any case, he stopped. I got a range on him. He's 43 yards away. I go,
That's pretty far.
I could take that shot. I know I've practiced that shot. It's not a great shot for me. And so I hit him with a grunt call, and he pops his head up, and he's trying to look to see where that's coming from. And he's only there for about 3-4 seconds after that. And he puts his head back down and starts heading down the hill into this tree line. Now, from where I'm standing, there is a path that we cut that used to actually be a cow path before my dad owned the farm. And we cut it out so that it was widened out and everything. Directly ahead of me, where I knew that this buck was not going to head back towards the north where he came from. He's going to keep heading south after he goes down this hill because there's a wetland directly east of where we're standing.
Which connects to the backyards of where Kevin and I grew up.
Correct. So that wetland, I was like, he's not going to go trudging through the cattails and everything. He's going to go around this, but he's going to go right directly in front of me if I just run down this hill. So that's what I did. I grabbed my bow. I booked it down the hill as fast as I could. And like I said, deer are stupid at this time of the year. They're out for one thing. They want some tail.
It's vagina. They want vagina.
They want that.
Deer vagina.
And so that's right. And so this deer, it was, he was on his path, but he wasn't running. Like he wasn't at a full stride. He was just kind of moseying down, and I booked it to the bottom of the hill to where he has to walk in front of me. Right. So I'm sitting there. I pull full draw knowing that he's going to pop out. I don't know where he's going to pop out, but I know he's actively coming towards me, and I know he's going to end up crossing my path. So I'm at full draw. I see him come out, and he stops right behind between, like, there's a tree right between me and him, but he's completely broadside at maybe 15 yards. So this is like, I'm going to get a kill shot on this. I know I'm going to hit this shot. This is going to be great, but I have to sidestep this tree. So I take a half step back, shoot the deer, runs 120 yards, drops right there. And actually, it's probably not even 120 yards, probably 100 yards from where I was standing.
That is a really good story.
And it drops there. But here's the interesting thing. So where I hit it, and I'm sure a lot of hunters have had this, I hit it where there was no blood trail, no like huge blood trail. It was the shot was a little high. It was like mid body. It wasn't like low on the carcass, right? It was perfectly behind the shoulder, but it's just a little bit high. So as it was sprinting, it wasn't like blood was gushing out of it. So, and I couldn't see its path up the hill and around the corner from where I was standing. So he was running back towards that neighborhood. And I'm like, he's not going to the neighborhood, right? He's gonna duck around and he's gonna go into this other tree line. He's gonna go. So it actually took me an hour and a half to find this deer.
I remember you posted on Facebook about a drone or something. Did anybody have one, right? Or something
Yes,
like
exactly.
Yeah,
So I saw one speck of blood 20 yards from where I shot it. And then I saw another little spot of blood on this prairie grass, maybe 40 yards from that. And then I turned the corner of this brush line, this buckthorn and trees and whatever brush line, and I found my arrow, or like the top half of the arrow. I said, okay, so he turned, right, is what I'm thinking. He turned this way. That's where the arrow is. Fell out. He started tailing down the run, and there's probably a 150-yard open pathway for him to sprint down and multiple lanes to get into the tree line. So I go down that way, and I'm like, I can't find blood. I can't find this deer. It's like, this is terrible. I know I had a great shot.
The worst feeling in the world.
I know I had a great shot. I know this deer is dead, but I don't know where it went. And I was 20 yards from this deer for 2 hours searching for this deer, right? So, because I was convinced that this deer was not going back towards that neighborhood where it just came from.
Sure.
That's like in
Is
my
that what
head.
you did?
It was in the backyard of this guy's house, right on the other side of the tree line from my dad's farm. And when I went back to look, after I found the deer, actually before I found the deer, I went back to where I shot it, and I said, okay, he ran a hard straight line in this direction, and then I got to the point where I knew kind of the path he was at before he turned the corner. And I stopped to where I would have had the tree line where that neighborhood is and where the arrow would have been right when I found it. And I said, okay, there's a gap in the tree line that's about a foot wide that looks like it's a game trail.
Yeah.
Maybe he went and shot straight to that. Because deer are interesting. They have a way to see trails, deer trails, or like animal trails, game trails that are so small you don't think anyone would go through there. But deer have a way to get through there.
It's like pre-programmed.
Sure. Yeah, they know that that's a place that they can go. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna just go look, because I've looked everywhere else around this area. The shot that I took had to put him down. It was a double lung shot for sure, because I was so close and I had my pin where I wanted it and everything. The sidestep was fine, but it was still in a great position. So I head towards that little gap and I see a speck of blood. I'm like,
Nailed it.
There he is. And so then I just look up and I see antlers sticking out of the tall grass. I'm like,
Best feeling.
there's my deer. There's my deer.
That's cool, man.
And I had actually called one of my buddies who's he's a farmer in Oconomowoc, who he has some thermals and things like that. And I was like, dude, how long would the thermals show up for me? He's like,
Long.
dude, days after you'd
dude.
be able to find this deer. I was like, okay. So then I had inquired on Facebook about drones and things, you know, trying to find it. But I found the deer, so I was like, this is great. And it just so happened to be my my biggest scoring buck.
Yes, it did.
And it was like
That's a cool story.
a shotgun deer. You know, I mean, it's like you're run and gun.
You never climbed into a stand.
No, I didn't. And I had called
And that stuff
Angie.
happens with guns,
Yeah.
you know, but not with a bow.
No,
usually, you
this
know?
was one of those situations where it was like you had to be prepared. You had to know like when you're going, and you had to know that there's an opportunity every second that you're out. So I go down, I go and pick up this deer, get in the truck, and take it back to my house. And I'm driving up the road, and I get it home, get it hung, cape it out, and everything. The very next day, we're going to my son's basketball game in Muskego, and lo and behold, the buck that I said was going to get hit by a car,
Hit by a car.
he was hit by a car.
Wow.
So
The Lord was with you.
I picked up that deer.
Was this the one I told you about?
No, this is a different one. So
Did you get 4 deer?
yes, I had 4 deer this year.
Oh, you butthead.
3 roadkill and 1 big old buckshot.
That's correct. And so those of you who don't know, there's a lot of meat on deer that are sitting on the side of the road, and if they're fresh, there's nothing wrong with them. Pick them up and eat them.
Hands down, top 3 of deer that I ever had. Top 5 meat that I've ever had was Ryan's roadkill buck.
Yes,
It was
it's good.
freaking-
It's tasty.
Dude.
So here's the best part of the story, and this is where it is wild. So I was driving down the road to the basketball game. And I told my wife, "Hey, I know that deer was hit within the last 12 hours. It's probably still warm, even right? It's because I mean it's November. It's starting to get cold out and everything. The temperatures haven't been that high, and I know it's not going to be spoiled." So I said, if that deer is still sitting there when we drive back, I'm going to pick it up. She goes, okay, fine. So on the way,
truck.
no, I had to go get my truck when we came back. But so we go to the game. On the way back, we're driving past where that deer is sitting. The deer's still there. And guess what? There's another buck sitting there. So
real?
between the time
This is the one I told you.
and that's the one that you told me about.
So,
Wow.
yeah. So, this
So
is
in
a
the-
funny...
Yeah,
Keep
so
going.
there's two. So there's 2 bucks that have been killed within 12 hours of when I said that one's going to get hit, and I have my buck that I shot hanging in the garage.
So, I think the first buck is it's our buck.
it is.
We'll say. The first one that you saw, I didn't even hear this part of the story. You saw that in the cornfield alive first,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I have a version of this now. What a wild thing. So that same buck, I was working and
Ryan's a police officer, by the way.
yeah. So I'm a police officer. So deer get hit a lot, and then I call Matt, and he picks them up, and we butcher them and eat them. There's another guy I was working with, and he said, oh, yeah, this buck got hit. I might go grab it. It looked pretty good. I was like, ooh, where is it? And he told me, he's like, oh, yeah, it's over in the exact location that Matt said. So I said, oh, okay. Well, if you don't want to get it, then just let me know because I'll probably grab it. He's like, oh, you can just have it. And I was like, no, it's your buck. You found it, or you went to the call for the car versus deer. Like, you can take it. He's like, all right, sounds good. I'll probably grab it. And if not, I'll let you know. I was like, all right, sounds good. And then the night kind of went on, and I was like, I think I checked with him once more. I was like, hey, you going to grab it? He's like, yeah, I think I'm going to get it. I was like, I have a feeling he's not going to get it. So I worked till 3 a.m., wake up the next morning, like hey, how's that buck? Did you get it? He's like, no, we had we're gonna have our birthday party for our kid the next day. My wife would kill me if I picked it up. I was like, well, sweet. Thanks for figuring that out. Now that I'm home, I could have grabbed that last night. And it was a good sized buck. It was like a nice eight pointer, maybe. I think.
I don't remember. I gave the antlers to the neighbor.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. So then I texted Matt.
It was a big
because
buck.
it was right by his house. I was like, hey, there's this buck here. He's like, yep, I just saw it. I'm gonna pick it up on the way back if I see it. And then he sends me a picture of 2 bucks in his bed of his truck.
That's right.
He's like, yep, there's another one.
So there was a
Like that
yearling.
is the hot spot right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
I get hit
Because
all the time.
there's a big tree line there that they have tons of cover, and then there's the cornfields and everything, and then they run across the street to the lowlands where there's that wetland over by like Northview,
Sure.
and so they're running across this 4-lane highway,
Getting hit by cars.
getting hit by cars. And I drive down that road every single day, so it's not like I don't know what's been there and what's not been there, right?
Using Game of Frogger 24/7.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
But it's like, so out of in 24 hours, I picked up 140 pounds of meat.
Is it
So
pretty
3 deer
easy?
then, yep.
Is it pretty easy to identify the portion that's been hit?
Yeah.
Oh yes, if it's a high speed collision, you will know exactly like the damage area. If it's a low speed collision, like 35, 40 miles an hour, like both these deer had no broken bones. There was nothing there. It was just they got hit, the ribs.
The area that it's damaged is like a really dark, gooey purple blood.
Yeah, when you
So you can
cut
just
open.
tell it's, I don't know what exactly it is, but it's
all
gooey, gross,
coagulated.
coagulated.
Yeah.
That part, just don't eat. You wouldn't probably die if you ate it. It's just kind of gross to look at. So
Yeah, it's bruised and all. that.
we've
You really want it.
me and Matt have done a couple.
It's
We had
pretty
another one
tenderized.
in the exact same spot that Matt picked up with me when I was working. It was another buck.
That is a hot spot.
And that one had
time.
its intestines coming out its ass.
Yeah, so
That one was kind of gross. We
thing
decided
is-
we probably shouldn't do that in the future because we cut it apart and it was like,
yeah,
once you
we're
break
gonna
those
hose this
open,
bad boy
yeah.
down because she's destroyed on the inside.
yeah, you don't want to do like so. At the low speeds, it's all internal damage, right? It's going to explode the lungs and it's going to die on the spot, that type of thing. And so, but like higher speed, it might have the back end ripped
Right.
off or whatever, and then it's like, yeah, you don't want to play around with that. But if you have a low speed, you have almost no meat damage. I mean, you have a
Less
little
than
bit,
if
had,
you shot it,
right?
basically.
Really?
Absolutely.
I had the one that Kevin talked about.
It was so good.
It was just, just a dude hit a deer in Waukesha. And I went to it and I was like, oh, this looks pretty good. I was like, started poking around the ribs and they seemed all intact. Its back leg, like from kind of like the knee down, was shattered and hanging. But I honestly don't know why it died. Obviously from getting hit by a car, but took it back, butchered it.
Heart and lungs were
Insides were fine. I gutted it with Matt behind the PD, left the guts for the coyotes, and his kids were there watching it happen. So I was like, Matt, help me get this. Because I can't really tote it in my squad car. So he basically picked it up, threw it in his pickup. We drove behind the PD, gutted it, left the guts back there. Heart was completely intact. Lungs look fine. Something killed it, obviously. I'm
Could have
not
been
sure
a head.
what.
You got hit.
Maybe, yeah, I could have gotten
Smacked
smacked in the
his
head.
head or something. Yeah.
I got multiple stories we can go through now with deer getting hit by cars, but their heads are resilient, let me tell you. So anyways, there was 0 damage, and I got like 70 pounds of meat off the thing. It was like
awesome.
That's
really
a lot.
good.
That is a lot of meat.
Moral of the
lot.
story is pick up car killed deer.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, if you have an opportunity and the deer doesn't look destroyed, pick it up. It's great meat. It's some of the healthiest meat you can eat.
If it's a red smudge on the road, let's maybe talk about that one before you pick it. But if it's, yeah, absolutely.
We had one, I think it was the year before, literally the same intersection of the one I picked up this year. So there's obviously hot spots. And some animal lovers might not like this story or my next one, but that's too bad because we're hunters and we're going to talk about
And we're in
animals dying.
Wisconsin.
We're in Wisconsin. So I heard this deer got hit. And
I love animals.
it was one where it was injured so bad that the cop had to shoot it on the side of the road. So he shot it in the head. Boom. Whatever. I was like, all right, I got 2 hours to my shift. I drove my wife's car that day, so I drove home, grabbed my pickup, came back, got out, started walking towards it, and all of a sudden I see its head just lift up and look towards it. I was like, oh no. And it started trying to run away with its broken legs, and it got shot in the head. But you really have to hit their head right, because they have thick skulls.
Yep.
So I called my sergeant, and I was like, hey, Sarge, that deer's not dead. He's like, do you have your off duty? I was like, yeah. But by now I was wearing normal person clothes. It's like, maybe we shouldn't have you shoot that on the side of a fairly busy intersection. We'll send someone over. So someone else came over and shot it, and then I took that one home. And that was the first deer that I butchered on my own. I've only been hunting a few years. Probably 4. And taken 0 deer to get processed by someone, thanks to Matt. Matt kind of introduced me to a lot of the hunting stuff and the 101s and how to butcher a deer, and then now I go up hunting with Kevin up in his land and with Matt when I'm back in the area. And so we got a good combo of things. Yeah.
You know what's fun is, the reason why I learned to cut up deer is I didn't have $120 for processing when I first started hunting. I was like, why would I spend that much money
It's more at that point to just go to the grocery store
to cut it?
Yeah.
Like, I can cut meat.
You're like, I provided the meat.
So, I mean, the hardest part was like trying to hang it the first time. After that,
it is.
If you haven't ever done it before, it's really pretty basic.
Watch
and once
YouTube
you get
videos,
it gutted, you can't screw it up that bad.
Right.
Because worst case is
Grind
you
the
cut
whole
something
thing.
wrong
Throw
and
it
you
in the
grind
grinder,
it
baby.
into
That's
ground
right.
venison.
Yeah.
But
And then you make jerky out of it.
you
and it
kind of
tastes
just get the
wonderful.
sequence of how to start and how to get the hide off, cut around the legs, and slowly start pulling it and cutting it and slicing it. And once you get the hide off, and then you just
Worst case
kinda
scenario,
work. All right, here, we'll
you
cut
take
this
a cut
leg
that
off.
you wanted to eat as a steak, and unfortunately, you throw it in the grinder. Worst case
Right.
scenario.
Yeah.
And you can find, you pretty much just find like, here's a muscle. I'm going to run my hand along the fascia. I can kind of feel where it is. And you cut around that, and then you get a chunk of muscle off.
it kind of falls apart.
It kind of, yeah.
If you just find the connective tissue lines, it'll just fall apart.
And
you.
I don't know exactly what I'm doing still, but I get most of it pretty decent. And some I'm like, oh, I did that one good. That leg was really good. And the next one I'm like, I don't know what I did, but I missed a step somewhere, and this piece got all cut up. And
Grinder.
either
I mean,
you
there's-
have a smaller roast or you
Yeah.
throw it in the grinder, and it doesn't matter.
At the end of the day, it's meat, and you can cook meat. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. And I think a lot of people have a fear of screwing things up, right? Do it. They have a fear of trying things because they think they'll screw it up.
That's true.
And the key, and this is a life skill, not just a deer skill,
Absolutely.
right? Is just fucking do it, because you're not going to learn anything by not doing it. And you could realize that you're way more capable than you think you are.
And we
Also-
have YouTube.
100%.
Also,
YouTube teaches everything. You just basically got to watch it and try it.
the way I see it too. So in my line of work, we fix furnaces, right? And it's very, very heaters. It's very intimidating to work on something you've never worked on before. Especially, a lot of the techs we teach are like right out of high school, and they've never, they've played video games their whole life. They never fixed anything. It is so much more scary to just dig into something on the job and just dive into it. And a lot of times there's bigger consequences, but you will learn a lot faster than if you were in a classroom. that's the way, like, the best learning
That
is done by
is,
just getting thrown into the fire.
That goes into the kind of the styles. So we're going to homeschool our kids. I don't know for how long, but for a minute, till we decide, or they decide they want to go to school. But I think there's a lot of cool benefits of it. And I think one of the cool things is that you can start teaching them how to learn like an adult. You have to do the basics. Like, here's math. You have to learn it somewhat like school. Like, there's no way to make a project out of math when you don't know how to do math. So you have to learn some of the basics. Once you start getting a little older, it starts becoming more of a, here's my problem. How do I solve this? And then you learn a bunch of things. So when they have the basics down, you can say, all right, we're going to have a fun project. you are now the engineer of a city, and I want you to make a city. Part of it's going to be out of wood, part of it's going to be out of concrete, and I want you to run some electric to it and just basically make some type of city. So then they start learning like woodworking stuff. Oh, there's angles here. So now we got to start doing a little more math, maybe even some trigonometry if we want to go that route with it, or just some basic carpentry stuff. Maybe figure out how concrete works and how you can even just do a quickcrete and have a mold and make that. And then you add a little electricity and start going through that aspect of it. And it is how adults learn, is we have problems and we figure out how to solve the problems instead of here's our list of all the things we have to teach you from K through 12. Calculus will be super helpful for you because no one will ever use it unless you go into like some crazy NASA. I don't even remember what calculus is for, to be honest. My grandpa had his master's as a math teacher and very good like mathematician. I was like, did you ever actually use calculus in the real world? And he's like, nope. And I love calc. That was one of my favorite classes. But it's like
learning volumes of odd shapes and things like that.
It's very not applicable to the real world unless you go really specific into something very mathematic. And
meteorology or something like that.
Just
so it's kind of
to think critically.
Exactly. It teaches people to start thinking critically. And here's my problem. I got to figure out how to solve it.
One of the principles that a lot of the like the top business people have actually, there's a book called Ready, Fire, Aim, right?
I like that.
And it's about do things, make mistakes, correct mistakes, right? And the faster you do things, the faster you can perfect what you're trying to do.
Sure.
Right? There's a lot of people who get paralyzed by analyzing situations and things like that and trying to figure out what the perfect situation might be or if they know how to do it right. And obviously there's things that you don't want to screw up, right? If you take on your first plumbing job and you're going to solder some copper pipes in your house for the first time, it might be a good idea to practice that in the garage prior to hooking it up to your water source, right? But it's not like you can't learn how to solder, right? Just screw it up in your garage where the consequences are very minimal to start with, which is another like parenting hack, right? Introduce your kids into situations where they're probably going to have a failure and they can learn to fail softly. And then they can learn to fail a little harder and they can learn to fail a little harder later on in their life. And so when they have these situations where they get into situations where they might not feel so confident, you know, previously, they now have this confidence of, well, the worst that can happen is it just doesn't go right. It's not going to kill me, right? And we have these
Getting comfortable with it is huge.
Yeah, there's a book by Michael Easter called the Comfort Crisis, and it talks about how we get paralyzed by anything that is slightly discomforted because we live in this world where we're so comfortable in our environments that we never get chased by a bear or a lion or real life or death situations.
Yep. That's why we have cortisol issues, because that's what cortisol's for.
Correct.
Is for when a lion chases you, that's the proper stress response along with adrenaline.
But
I think that's why we have anxiety.
That's why we have
anxiety we had anxiety because we had actual stuff to, anxiety helps you.
We didn't
in a
have
situation
anxiety
like that.
because we actually had
Well,
problems.
we had it when we needed it. And then when we didn't need it, we didn't have it. But now we never need it, so it pops up for no reason.
But
that's
we're never
why we
exposed.
have anxiety now for unnatural
We're never
things.
exposed to those hardships and failures and those types of things that would broaden the sense of what's actually scary and what is not, right? And we're never taught those things until we experience those things. Yeah. And I think one of the major issues in today's parenting situations is people are trying to protect their kids from everything. Don't climb on that. Don't do this. I tell my kids, go break your arm. Go play in the street. Because in a sense, they have to understand what real danger is and what, can you climb a tree? Sure, you can climb a tree. Could you break your arm climbing that tree? Yeah, you could. should you break that arm climbing a tree, it might help you later in life to have that experience.
Yep.
You know, I'm not like not an abusive sense
Right.
of it, but like it's a learning capacity and an awareness capacity so that you can have a barometer of what's actually something to worry about and what's not.
Yeah.
We get terrified of going through TSA.
Yeah. Right.
Like we get super anxious as a society to go through airport security or maybe being late for a flight.
Yep.
Guess what? It's not a big deal.
Yep. Yep. So true.
You know, but we act like it is a huge,
But our bodies interpret that as I'm going to die.
super high stress.
Because that's the biggest threat it's faced
correct.
in a long time.
So one of the things that we have to do is expose ourselves to these situations, high stress situations like fasting, like cold plunges, like saunas, like
Working out hard like a man
like going
or a woman.
red line. I mean, getting to
Oh,
the point
dude.
where you're about to
I
throw
can't
up
wait
and
till we
pass
hit
out.
that topic, and maybe we will now.
Oh,
or not, but,
exercise?
dude. Working to the point of pure exhaustion is the most amazing thing in the world. Oh my gosh,
When you hit that lactate threshold and you're going to throw up,
dude.
you know that you've done it right.
Yep. And you feel like I don't care what you did, I don't care what's going on in your life. You feel good at that point.
Yes.
In college, I played baseball and we would do CrossFit, which is really stupid for baseball. It's completely unrelated, not applicable,
Terrible for your shoulders.
terrible for your shoulders. A lot of overhead stuff, which is
Probably
pretty
your knees,
anti-baseball,
too,
at least
'cause aren't
back
you
when I was
jumping
playing.
a lot in CrossFit. Maybe
Well,
not.
jumping's good, but overall,
Impact,
it's not
I mean, but
what you want for high-level baseball athletics. But the reason that our coach liked it, he wasn't a huge workout guy, but one of our assistant coaches was, and he was a big into it. And he's like, what I like it for is that I know that this will be the hardest thing that I do all day. And it gives you that mental toughness, which can really help you on the field. And I kind of thought that was kind of stupid at the time, but I've really come to appreciate that a lot more. I'm like, I was such a pussy back then. And I've learned so much since then to stop being a bitch and just keep pushing yourself, whether it's working out or real life stuff. And just okay, it's hard. Just keep going. And I think there was a lot to be said, which I didn't realize then about, okay, that is actually applicable in a mental sense of this is the hardest thing you're going to do all day. So get after it and do it because the rest of your life is going to be really easy.
Yeah.
So make yourself work really hard for 45 minutes.
I think that's a great, everything that we've all said here is kind of tied together by the fact of your conditioning, not just your body, but your mental state, your ability to handle life.
Your fortitude.
You condition yourself for life, exactly. So your brain can work almost the way that your body does, where you put yourself through something hard, and there is that is worth something, even if it sucks. Even if you're depressed, right? Let's say you're depressed for a month or whatever. You have gained something from that for sure, because you are that much tougher now. When something else comes that might cause you to feel that way. Now you've been there, you've sat in that situation, you're familiar with it, you're comfortable with it. It's just like your body, where when you work out, you tear your muscles. Technically, your muscles are. I mean, you guys can correct me here, but you're almost damaging your muscles when you work out, right? And then they're rebuilding.
Certainly.
Yeah, then they're rebuilding themselves and they're stronger because of getting damaged.
That's a big reason that I'm a huge proponent of police officers doing jujitsu, which I do consistently. Jeff, you've done some of it at least. And it's you don't know what it's like to have someone on top of you when you're tired and smothering you until you actually do it. And you will 100% panic. For sure, if you've never been there. And if you haven't been there a lot, you're going to panic, especially when it's in the real world. And it doesn't take long to get very, very tired in a real fight. And when you're exhausted and
takes
then
that
you
much
can't
more out of you.
breathe, good night. You're going to do something stupid or you're going to die. It'll be all up to the suspect that's attacking you on what happens. Or maybe you're not going to know what to do, and maybe you'll get lucky and you can pull your gun out and shoot them. Then you have to go through, dealing with all that. But police officers, you literally arrest people all the time. And not everybody likes that. And you're going to get in fights. And it literally is just a roll of the dice of what they're going to do when you arrest them and how bad they're going to want to get away or how bad they're going to fight you and how skilled they are, how big they are. And if you don't do something to make yourself better and train, like you are just waiting for that dice roll to be bad and you to be in that panic situation where you can't handle yourself.
Real-time performance is only as good as how far you push
What you've done
yourself in
before.
practice.
Always falls to the level of training.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training.
Right. So if you expose yourself to the highest level of training, no matter what your discipline is, right? Whether it's physical training, mental training, whatever it is, if you push yourself to your absolute limits, you'll never see that. You very rarely will see that in daily life, right? No matter what your profession
Ryan
is.
might. Jeff might.
I mean, even in their situations, I know Ryan's training way harder than what he's going to see on a daily basis, right? He's going to be over prepared for what he's going to see, so he can go into those situations confident, right?
Yep.
And so he's the idea of practicing these things is just you train yourself by suffering, both mentally and physically, so that you can be prepared for that time, so that you can be clear-minded in that moment, right?
Yeah, when you know what you're doing, like physically in a fight, the amount of confidence and clarity you can have is way more than that immediate panic, code black. Oh my God, this is happening, and you're breathing hard, and the adrenaline's pumping, and you can't think straight, and you can hardly even talk on the radio or say where you are, what's happening, versus like, okay, I'm in control. Instead of having to do this level of force, I know what I'm doing on the ground. I can start trapping an arm and yell something on the radio.
I don't have to shoot him.
Yeah, exactly. Or do something else, and you can just be a lot more calm, and you don't have to be like,
Well, that's why I think
show me your
that's
fucking ass, blah, blah, blah. And those are the people that are out of control versus like,
there's a lot of truth to the worst thing you've ever experienced is the worst thing you've ever experienced.
Yep.
So if you make the worst thing that you've ever experienced something
Real bad.
outside of the situation where you need to be able to control,
For sure.
it makes it that much easier.
Yep.
Getting back to your comment though about taking care of soldering in the garage and learning, and it's like, well, if you screw this up, you screw it up. It's not the end of the world. All good and dandy. Just don't apply that to electricity.
No. Electricity is very different. But
you can get hurt, just don't die. Don't
Depends
play
what
with
you're working on.
microwaves. Don't play with garage door chains,
Cattle rated
Springs.
electric fences.
springs.
yeah, that hurts.
There
I've
are
had
certain things that you may learn from it, but you might not wake up
Refer
from
to
it
professionals
either.
on those.
Yeah.
Correct. So one of the things
Having said that, I have tightened garage door springs using screwdrivers. There's little
oh yeah, the holes.
holes. Screwdriver, turn. Didn't get hurt. Pretty proud of that.
I mean, I think with proper precautions, you can do just about anything.
You have to think about the situation first.
But you have to take some time to think about the operations.
The solder example. You can't get into that much trouble if you know how to shut the water off to the house. You can
Correct.
get into a little trouble, but not that much trouble. You just got to find your fail-safe. If shit hits the fan, what are you going to do?
That's right. That's right. So
True.
all of this conversation reminds me of my favorite passage in the Bible,
Beautiful.
which
I'm gonna look
is
it up. You
my-
haven't memorized.
my favorite is it's kind of the whole chapter is the way that we're told to live our lives, and it's from Paul in prison, Romans 12. Okay, we are supposed to be living sacrifices to the Lord.
What verse?
Romans. Oh no, the chapter,
No, I know. Romans chapter 12.
chapter 12.
Verse. Oh, you're
No,
going to.
all
Oh, the
of it.
whole thing.
It's how you live your life.
Let's
so
go.
okay, so I'm a Catholic. Okay, everybody else here is non-denominational Christians, right?
Lutheran.
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 We got a Lutheran
Jeff's a Lutheran.
Not
Kevin
just,
and I are not.
not just any Lutheran.
The
Hold on.
Reformed.
Or
I
Wells
recently
Lutheran.
just began attending
Oh, yeah.
a Pentecostal church.
Very good. Okay, so the
Did you speak in tongues?
No, but that is a thing.
Have you
is the thing.
witnessed it?
I've never witnessed it.
It's a sight to behold.
I believe it. I believe it.
It's a real thing. Haven't seen it.
I believe it's a real thing.
Read about it.
I
Heard
think-
about it. Never actually seen it.
I think that
Haven't seen
it is definitely faked a lot from the little bit that I've seen of it. And I think that someone who really knows what they're talking about will agree with that. But yeah, the day it happens to me, if it ever does, I'll be pretty impressed. I think that would be really cool. Because I'm a big I'm at the point in my walk of faith or my journey where I want it to be real. Like I want some of the stuff that happens in the Bible to happen to me. And there's nothing that says that is impossible, right? Like,
oh, it's absolutely true.
you know, and I'm waiting. I hope it does. I think it's going to be awesome. Sometimes I'm scared of it. You're sitting alone in your bedroom and you're like, God, talk to me. And you're like, wait, dude, do I actually want that to happen? That would be terrifying, but it would be awesome, you know? So yeah, anyway.
Well, and God talks to you in different ways too.
I know
but-
that.
Anyway, so the reason why I say everybody has their own way of looking at the Bible and looking at scripture and things like that. You might have a certain verse that you key in on that you really love. I think you have to look back at the context of the chapter of which it's being spoken in, right? And you can have a great verse, right? A single line of text,
Oh gosh,
Right.
so many verses are misquoted.
but the way that it's read is not what it's being said.
Yep.
The Bible has to be understood in the realm or the lens of who is saying it, why are they saying it, and how would the people hearing it understand it?
Right.
Because that is what it is meant for. And it can say something which could kind of mean sometimes something different to those people, but you have to understand who's saying it, why they're saying it, and how it would be understood by those people. And that will give you the full context of it and make it applicable to now.
Exactly. So
I've also been told that Romans is the only book in the Bible that is a calling and like a specification as far as how we as Christians are supposed to live our lives. The entire book is a calling to this is how you are to live your life as a Christian.
yes. So when I say Romans 12 is my favorite, he's writing to say your life. So I'll just read it.
Send it.
It's about a living sacrifice. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is true and proper worship. Okay, so how we worship is by sacrificing for God. We are the sacrifice, just like Jesus was the sacrifice, right? Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So in the last episode, we talked about Lent and fasting, right? And now we're talking about how we have to test our bodies and test our minds and push ourselves to our limits, right? Which in a way is suffering, right? We're suffering for growth and understanding of our own selves. And also, when you think about that and you put this back into perspective of that first little chunk of Romans 12, it's like, okay, so if we're supposed to rid ourselves of things of this world, which is that whole fasting part we talked about last time, and open up space for God's will to come into us and be willing to be grateful in that sacrifice that and the suffering that we endure in that, that's holy and pleasing to God, right? So it's kind of interesting that like the guy who's in prison, who's suffering, is writing to people about being the sacrifice. Hey, I sacrificed myself. I'm in prison. I changed my life. I said, hey, I'm not going to persecute anymore, and so therefore I'm going to prison for you, so that I can write to you. So he made his sacrifice.
Picture of Christ, a little
Right.
bit, at least, yep.
And so then the second the second portion is humble service in the body of Christ. For by the grace given to me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith of God has distributed to each of you. For just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts, according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is in giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. So in that passage, like if you took one verse out of it, the context doesn't make much sense, right? If you read the whole passage, the passage says, hey, we're all members of the body of Christ, right? We're all members of God's church, and we all have gifts that we're supposed to bring to God's, glory into the kingdom on earth, so that we can go to heaven and then, rejoice in that matter, right? And then the third section, the longer section, is love in action. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed them. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you'll heap burning coals on his head. Gosh, I love the God of the Old Testament. Which still is the God of the New Testament.
This is the New Testament, though. It's same God.
I know. So, I mean, like that's now, and then it says, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good, right? So instead of like, when we're talking about preparation, right, and practice, and practicing being a sacrifice to God, right? I think the key that we need to get into is that it's a very selfless situation. In our world, we think about how can we help ourselves, help our families, get a nicer house, get a nicer car, those types of things. But when Jesus says, leave everything behind and follow me.
It's hard to do.
That's super hard.
Really hard to
right?
do. Yeah.
And Paul's writing about it here. Like, you are not better than anybody else. And in fact, you should rejoice in other people way more than you rejoice in yourself. Right? Mm-hmm. And even your enemies. Like, love your enemies stronger than you love yourself. Right? That's
a tough one.
Not
that's
just
hard.
so that you can feel good about it. Right? Because that's not really sacrifice. There's a difference big time. If you do something that God tells you to do and you do it so that you feel good, that's not really sacrifice.
Correct.
Right? If you do something that God tells you to do, or you give up something that you want to do because you think God tells you to do it, and it sucks, that's sacrifice.
That's correct.
There's a difference there, I think. And motive plays a big part in it. Why are you actually giving up? Or
He clearly knows your heart, and as he said many
it's a
times,
huge thing. Yep.
if you look upon a woman with lustful eyes, you're committing adultery in your heart. So clearly it's not just about the
Act.
external.
I was just going to say, with regards to, I think, doing difficult things, putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, kind of like what you were describing before and what we talked about previously, again, with the fasting, it's not easy. It's hard. And at least I find myself going to God more often, and this isn't how it's supposed to be, but I find myself going to God more often when I'm in need, when I'm downtrodden, when I'm lowly, when I'm
Okay, Jelly Roll.
I don't
when
know
I'm beaten.
Yeah, but I don't know that.
What's
I don't
Jelly
know
Roll's
that that's.
song?
I don't know that that is not how it's supposed to be. Because look at the Beatitudes.
Sure.
Right.
All I'm saying is I think that
Yeah.
because in Christ's suffering,
Right.
and so I think there's a correlation there, and through those difficulties,
Yeah.
we find ourselves looking and seeking and latching on to God more often when we're in need of Him. But if you're putting yourself through those hardships, you're going to get that
Yeah.
without having to experience as many, I would say, unself-inflicted hardships, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Absolutely.
I just heard a good sermon. Now, we can't say that obviously every bad thing does not happen because it's something that you did or you're responsible for. You look at the book of Job. He got punished, not necessarily punished, but he had all these hardships because of how holy he was. So the devil can make their attacks on you because of the holiness that you're presenting.
That whole book is about. The Bible recap, right? You told me about that. That makes a good commentary on that. That it's really that a lot about that book is about is challenging the thought that if we're good, we'll get good things to happen.
Yeah,
to
because
us.
all of his
friends tell him that.
who are supposed to
Just
be so
quote friends,
wise.
yeah.
That's the only
They
book
tell
of the
him-
Bible I believe that has nothing to do with Israel, Judaism. There's nothing. They're
He's
like
just the guy.
They're like Eastern
Yeah.
people of Asia. But
Yeah.
anyways, clearly the
Devil's
point
not
is,
concerned with the guys that are lukewarm. He's more concerned with the dudes that are on fire.
Yeah. But clearly just because, or clearly not everything that happens to you that is bad
It's because you did something
because
bad.
you did something bad. But I just heard a good sermon that talked about how there's still, like, God is active in your life. And if you as a Christian are doing some type of sin that you know is a sin and you're continually doing it, like repenting isn't just saying like, forgive me. You have to actually turn
Make
from
some
it.
changes.
Try to turn from it at least. Like, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
And mentally decide, like, I don't want to do that. Like, there has to be a change of behavior. That's a repentance. But if you have an area of sin where you're like, oh, I can sleep with my girlfriend
I can get
because
away
I
with
think
it.
it's okay, and God would blah, 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 wouldn't care, and whatever it may be. Or I can do this and I can do that, and you're habitually doing it. First, he's going to give you you already have it, the Holy Spirit. Like, these are, I'm saying, true born-again Christians. You have your Holy Spirit. You're going to feel guilty about it. You're going to have that, like, conscience of, like, ooh, I shouldn't be doing this. And you're going to feel it tugging at your heart. And the more you keep doing it, you're probably going to feel that less and less. And then you're going to be like, I don't even, like, feel that guilty anymore. And then you'll start getting more of, like, God's actual discipline. Okay, well, because you keep doing this, now you're going to have some repercussions. And you're going to actually find, here's the reason you shouldn't be doing these things. And there's going to be, or even potentially unrelated things, but you're going to start feeling the discipline. And that discipline is because you need the discipline to turn you back to God. Now, again, this isn't every single bad thing that happens is because of an action.
But if you
there
let it go long
certainly
enough-
is
if you let it go long
something
enough-
to do with you are not behaving the way you should or living in unrepentant sin, like you will be given this discipline to try and push you back to him.
God is a father to all of us. One thing that people don't like in this world is discipline for their children.
I haven't noticed that at work.
Well,
Everyone likes when I tell them what to do.
well, that's good. But so like in this world, you look at a lot of parents, and they're afraid to discipline their kids, right? And get them into line, right? There has to be consequences for actions, and God does that throughout the Bible and throughout our lives all the time, right? God is our Father on top of Jesus' Father, and we are supposed to mimic those things in raising our children too, right? So, like, you look at the different stories where he does discipline the Israelites and discipline the people into better actions, and you say, okay, well, that's a good a good way to show that, okay, so he loves us and he
Right.
wants us to do better.
Yeah.
Right. And you can have both. You can have the hard discipline, the punishment,
and love.
and love at the same time.
Yep.
Oh, perhaps like Proverbs 13:24,
What do you know?
which emphasizes that. I was like, I can't remember the exact wording of the verse. I can look it up. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them.
That's right. Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yep.
And I'm not saying go beat your kids, but like, you know,
Just beat them gently. Just
lovingly,
kidding.
lovingly,
Love.
you know, let them. They have to know that they're
Actually,
they
I think
need
the rod
guidance.
there might refer to more of like a measuring rod. I'm not sure on that. I don't know that it means
I think it means
a rod.
No,
it
it's
might.
a- it's
a-
It's- yeah.
No,
it might.
it's
it might.
it's a switch. Yeah. No, that's. I mean, and there's plenty of verses in the Bible that talk about, you know, using the rod for discipline.
And obviously, like legally, you can physically reprimand your child. That is I think, a good thing to do when it is warranted. But obviously, there are small children that are gentle and like
You have
it's easy
to know
to go
your
overboard.
kid.
Yeah,
You have
like,
to know your kid.
you can't abuse them. Obviously, that's what no one here is saying to abuse them.
I think as long
You
as
clearly have to.
you're applying that corporal punishment, and at the end of the day, your kid still comes and gives you a hug and kisses you goodnight, you're just fine.
Yeah,
Now, if
don't
they're,
leave them
if,
bruised and bloodied.
if,
and
if
like,
they're hunkering and hiding, probably went a little too far.
yeah, you gotta, and it should never be in anger.
That's what.
It
No.
should always
That's where the
be
line is.
like in love.
There's consequence to actions, and they have to know consequence for actions, and the severity of the punishment should be equal to the action that was there, right? And it shouldn't be in anger ever, right? This is out of love and compassion and rearing your child, right? I'm not saying, you know, and some people aren't built for giving a spanking, right? They're not. And that's great. But you have to have some other type of punishment that's going to
Yep.
show the severity of their actions. You know, I can't tell you how many times I go to pick up kids from school and the kids are just throwing temper tantrums, wailing, all this stuff. And my kids, they don't do that stuff. I tell them no. They go, what? And I go, I said no. And they go, okay. And they walk with me home. Right? They're not crying and wailing and all this stuff because they've been told that that's not how you behave. Right?
Well, not
Or the
only
one
not
time
only
they
told-
did that and you took corrective
Right,
action,
correct.
they
Your
understand that the
your kids
consequence.
how it
listen
works.
better than pretty much any that I've seen.
You
You
cannot.
did parenting very, very well with being very firm and stern, and in that I think the same. No, it was the next sermon by the last sermon I was just talking about. His dad is the main pastor, but he grew up in a really, really bad, sexually abused by his dad household. Bad,
Yeah.
a lot of trauma. And then he is a kid, and he's like, I have no idea what to do. I've never like been shown how to be a father. He's like, his prayer was, I want my kid to be a friend with me once they become an adult, like to be my friend for forever once they're like grown up. And I think a lot of parents now want them to be friends now,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
that's
you
true.
can't have that because they're not always going to like you when you parent
Right.
them the correct way.
Right.
They can't be your friend all the time. Obviously, you want to have a loving relationship where you can go do things that are fun, but they can't be your best friend when they're 7 or 10 or 13.
There's going to be so
But they
much
have to
time
grow
when
up
they
to the
are-
point when, okay, now he's an adult. Now he understands and he's 18, 20, 25, and now you're friends because you don't have to parent them because they're adults and have been
Well, the other
taught.
thing too, that people think that you can just tell your kids the right thing. Like kids don't work that way. You can't tell your kid and expect that to. You have to show them somehow. Like with some form of punishment. It usually comes down to that. Like there's so many times where I feel like, oh, if I just reason with my 7-year-old or reason with my
I thought that would
4-year-old,
work.
I'll just sit them down and say, hey, look, man. I want this to be good for you and me. Let's just talk about this. You know, I'm going to explain where I'm coming from. I understand where you're coming from. We're going to we're going to talk this out. No way. No freaking way.
There's
Not
a
with my
time and
kids
place
anyway,
for that,
dude.
but it's not when they're.
It's not when they're little.
3, 4 years
No,
old.
no,
you have to.
no.
They have to know you're in charge.
The one of the best.
Well, they don't
things,
understand that.
Right.
They don't understand words.
How you
They
make
don't-
them understand it is one of the best things that you do, Matt. Which I do it, but not as well as you or consistently. Is it's not they do something wrong, and then you say, if you do that again, or if you don't go clean up your room, like I told you to clean up your room. If you don't go do it right now, you're gonna get this punishment. That's when they start or they don't listen right away. It's I told you to clean up your room, like go clean up your room.
Now
They
you're
don't
getting
do it.
punished.
Immediate
Yep.
punishment.
And you have to be
whatever it may
consistent.
be. It has to
Immediate.
be
So
consistent.
this is so Jordan Peterson. You know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
He speaks on this often about.
I think we all love Jordan Peterson.
Oh yes, he's great. He talked about this specifically about you cannot let your child have like strikes. If you let them have strikes,
They're going to push how many strikes they can have.
they know
Yeah.
that they're not in trouble the first time they don't listen.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
know they're not going to be in trouble the second time they don't listen.
yeah.
They're going to wait till you go absolutely berserk on them because you've lost it.
Yep.
If you can head that off easily by immediate. You didn't listen to me. Here's the consequence.
Yep.
It makes life a lot better. And I saw it upstairs
so
earlier
quick.
when your kids were there, and either you or Angie said something like, "You guys go do this," and they just all turned and ran to go get their PJs on. I was like,
How did you do that?
"Whoa, that was good."
I'll tell
I got to
you-
be more. I know exactly what it is. It's
It's
what I just said.
consistency.
It's just doing
Yes.
it consistently,
It's
and
every single time.
I can tell when I do it consistently because
And
they
the thing
behave
is,
better.
too,
That's right.
just because, like, let's say you're in that spot where you haven't been consistent, right? And all of a sudden you start being consistent, get ready for their wrath. At
Oh, yeah.
first.
But then,
It is
but then they
going
fall
to
in
be
line.
awful.
It's like sleep training.
Yes.
You if you giving your kids chance after chance after chance and they're walking all over you, and then one day you decide to step in and be Mr. Serious, and you shut them in their room, you do whatever punishment you're going to do, that is going to be horrible. That is going to be absolutely horrible. So, at least in my experience, if we're lax with our kids, you have to do it. You have to do it. But if you're lax for a few weeks, a few days, a few months, whatever, and then all of a sudden you decide I'm going to whip this back into shape, that is going to be, there's going to be a lot of friction there for a little while.
And I
you
think
know?
the best way to do that, if your kids are old enough to understand a basic conversation, is just say, "All right, whatever their name is, now it is time for you to start listening. When I tell you to do
Give 'em a heads
something,
up.
you are
You get
going
one
to do
chance.
it. And if you do not, you will be immediately punished.
Yep.
Do you understand that?" Then they know the rules of the game. It's not so
You're not
out of
being
the blue.
unfair. That
Explain
is
It's
awesome.
going to help
rules.
You
them.
gotta explain 'em.
Because
Yep.
kids get destroyed emotionally when something out of the blue happens that
Yeah.
seems unfair.
Yep.
And they don't get it. And it's
Yep.
like,
That's true.
I've
Explain the
done
rules.
this a million times, and now
Yeah.
you're
now
beating
all of a sudden,
me.
where is this out of? Yeah,
Just
where's
kidding,
this
we're not
coming from?
beating.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
They're sending me to my room for a timeout.
Yep.
My biggest struggle is deciphering between when the time is to lay the hammer and when's the time for the gentle redirection. Because case in point, yesterday, I don't know how many times I've told my girls, "Hey, if we're not outside with you, you have to play in the backyard because that's the only place that I can see you." Every once in a while, they meander their way around to the front yard. Now, do I need to open up the front door and scream like a madman so the neighbors look at me and they're like, "What the fuck's wrong with that guy?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Get your ass back in the backyard.
You do. No, stop caring what anybody thinks. Be a great parent.
But I open the door and I say, "Hey, am I outside right now?" They look
I
at
do
me
the same thing.
and they go, "No." I go, "Where are you supposed to be?"
I say the same thing.
Picture Matt.
The backyard.
Now get
I'm
in
like-
the backyard.
And
No,
then
I
they're
don't
like,
yell. I don't-
"All right." I'm like, "All right, we're going." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
Now, I've probably done that a handful of times. And when I catch them doing that, my first instinct is to throw open the front door and be like, "I've told you before that if you play in the front yard when I'm inside the house." So again, it's deciphering between, okay, when is the time to approach and ask the questions and have them have the light bulb go off and then self redirect versus you know what? I told you to stop doing that. You didn't stop. All right, wham.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you get the tears, go to your room.
Yeah.
You can come out of your room when you're done crying.
yeah.
I don't tell them to go to their room and tell them that they have to stay in their room. I tell them they have to go to their room, and when you're done, or when you've self-regulated and you can come back and join society as a normal human being, you're more than welcome. But I don't want you to come out of that room before then.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is one of the tough. I guess the toughest part is when do you go soft and when do you go hard. I think
That's what she said.
Oh yeah.
Well, then it's always hard.
I think the consistency portion. If you come from the place of authority always, you don't have to yell. Right? If you start from a place
What I
of
think
authority,
is more powerful than yelling is what you do. It's not so you can yell fine, but if you yell without actually backing it up, right? Like if you don't do this, I'm gonna blah blah blah. And you can yell all you want if you don't actually follow through with what you say, right? If you don't do this, you're going to your room. So they do it again.
Well, because
That's you
eventually,
get the teenagers that roll their eyes at their parents that
Yeah.
are yelling at them.
Yeah.
but again,
Because they know you're
There'll be no eye
bullshitting.
rolling.
Because they know you're bullshit. They know you're
There will be
bullshitting.
no
them.
eye rolling. That could be a good coffee
if
mug.
there's no action behind the words, it doesn't matter.
That's my thing.
It doesn't matter how loudly you say the words.
In my opinion, if you back up your threats or your your demands, whatever, with even light consequences, right away, and you're consistent with that, I think the yelling becomes much less necessary. It's not so much what you say and how you say it; it's what you do to back that up. I think if you
it goes hand in hand with the authority voice, right? And fathers have to be fathers, right? I think there's been many places in this country, in our society, where men have been demasculated, and you can't yell or you can't be a man and have control over your household anymore, right? And part of that is in parenting, you have to be the authority figure. They're looking for you to guidance, right? They're looking to you for guidance.
Right.
And so if you're saying this is how it's going to be done, and this is the standard, and we're going to set the standard, and the standard is the standard, and we're not deviating from it.
right, that's the key.
And you start from the time they're born until the time they leave your house, there's not going to be a problem because they're going to know that you mean business.
And it can't depend on what mood you're in. It can't depend.
No, it's-
if,
We have the perfect picture of God the Father,
Bingo.
and we are his children.
Yeah.
Every single time in the Bible that any form of God or even angels shows up to man, they always are
afraid.
fall to the ground trembling in fear.
Yes.
Like there is that pure authority that God has.
Yep.
Obviously, we don't want our kids falling to the ground trembling, but they need to know the authority that we do have, and we have to be strong men.
That's right.
And strong men of character that take that authority and use it the right way. And that's the same thing with our wife, and how we're also the church, and Jesus is the bridegroom. We're the bride. He is the authority, and he leads us. And we have to lead our family, our kids, and our wife with authority and with love. And that's not just do everything I say because I'm in charge.
Right.
It's doing it with your wife, but you are still like the authority. And Jeff.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think that's where that dual role comes in as the male, because wives are supposed to submit themselves to their husbands, and husbands are supposed to respect their wives. But then, if we are the bridegroom, or excuse me, we're the bride, Jesus is the bridegroom. Essentially, we're kind of we're submitting ourselves. So we're taking on. We're not only taking on the role of respecting our wives as the male. We'll say the male role, but I'm also looking at it from the sense of like we're also taking it from a form of submission.
Right. It's basically like a pass down.
Yeah.
We submit to God and Jesus, and we are to take what we learn from him and pass it on to our families and lead them. This is
anything
obviously-
else successful or worthwhile. I think in life, it inherits or the same traits essentially from the standpoint, like any functioning, we'll say society or entity has to have the same principles where there's order, there's somebody that is directing, You are respecting that person that's giving the direction. And when that falters, or when the direction is no longer there, or the accountability is no longer there, the entity or the organization, gone.
Yeah.
And this is not saying men are better than women, or men are different than women, and women are different than men by design. We each have a fundamental role in the family. Women are better at certain things, men are better at certain things. This is just the role that we have. Does not mean a woman can't make more money than the man, and the man can't even stay at home while the woman works. We're not saying that. It's not that specific. It's just we have a job
We are
as men
supposed
of
to be
God
different
that we
by
are to
design.
lead our household. And much of that leading is how Jesus did it. Jesus was a servant. So be a servant to your family. If they need something, you do something to help them. If your wife needs something, do something to help her. Because that's how Jesus led, was leading as a servant. It's not the big, oh, I'm the man, you got to go
You gotta
do
do what
these
I
things
say.
for me.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about Jesus and how he led also is that he was maybe one of the most masculine people you could ever see, because when he saw things that weren't being done properly, he took a number of cords and brandished a whip and drove out the pit of. He was ready to do so. When it was time to be a complete rebel, he was ready to do so. He, like most of the things he did, like he was very peaceful in how he approached things, but he was ready to tell you were wrong, right to your face all the time. Right? And he was ready to
Well, and he
teach
saw
in a way.
he saw it as though if I don't tell you you're wrong, I'm harming you.
Yes,
That's
And
how he saw
iron
it.
sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Iron doesn't get sharp without hard friction.
Yeah.
Right. You have to really work at it and create. And there's going to be filings, and people. There's going to be pieces laying on the floor. People are going to get their feelings hurt. But that's how people grow.
Love needs truth.
True.
Yep.
If we were at the top of a mountain and you're about to go down it, and I knew
I
there
was
was
just
a
gonna
cliff,
try to make up my own version of this, but
and I said, "You're gonna have a lot of fun."
it'll
And
be
I
great.
just let
Good
you
decision.
go down.
Go for it.
I was like, yeah, but you're gonna have a lot of fun. It's what you want to do. You feel like you should go do that. That's
So
your
do it.
calling.
Yeah.
You should do it. You're gonna go off the cliff and die. And that's what we
That's not
believe
love.
as Christians. Like, there is a ultimate truth, and we want to point people towards that truth. We don't need to like force it, not throw it down people's throats, but we need to at least live our lives in truth and point people that way when we can. Because otherwise, it's not love. It is not loving to send someone down a hill that's going to go off a cliff and they're going to die. The love would be to say, nope, you can't do that. It's not fun. That's the only way down. Okay, we're going to have to walk, and it's a long walk, and it's going to be hard, but we're going to go around the cliff, and we're going to make our way down.
Yeah.
And that's what true love would do. It says something hard that people might not want to do in the moment, but eventually they will hopefully learn to understand it. And I think that's what we as men have to do. And kind of like how you said, Jesus, like when it was time, he cracked the whip, and it was like, there's evil happening here. Like, men have to be able to stand up and do that. There was a very prolific pedophile who like raped a whole bunch of kids, and I think it was the FBI might have interviewed him, and they interviewed him and said, because he'd like go to parks and stuff and look for kids. They said, like, what would you look for when, like, I've sent you guys this little clip, like, what would you guys look for like kids, and how would you know who to take? And he's like, I'll just look at their dad.
Yeah.
And if they weren't a threat to me, then I knew
Those
the
were the
kids would
kids.
be the ones
Yeah.
that I could take,
Yeah, I've seen
and
that
they
one.
would follow me, and I didn't have to worry about that. So, like, literally just being a threat to others and being a man
One of my
and
favorite.
being present, keeping your head up and looking around. Like, you think they're going to go and try and take your kid when you're looking around and you look him in the eye, he's going to look down like, I'll wait for the next one.
One of my favorite things to tell my kids, and actually this doesn't bother Emily, at least she hasn't said anything, is every once in a while a scenario comes up, like if a bad guy comes in. And I said, yeah, if a bad guy comes into our house, I'm going to kill them. And I'll say it straight up, like I'm going to kill
yeah.
them. And now it's to the point where like, it'll come up and I'll be like, what am I gonna do if a bad guy comes in and Grace will be like, you're gonna kill them. You know?
That's right.
Like,
If you
or he'll be like, you're gonna rip their arms off. I'm like, yeah, I am.
the absence of being capable to be violent is not being peaceful.
That's not being peaceful.
This is Jordan Peterson.
It is. It is. It is.
Who, by
being
the way, is on our
harmless.
next episode as a guest.
I mean,
We're
he's
gonna Brandon to come in. And
Freaking impression, dude.
Can he do Jordan Peterson?
He will.
it's so
Dude,
hard to do Jordan Peterson though because
he's got the
so-
slightest Canadian accent.
Yeah, but it's not even the accent; it's how he delivers everything, and the
He
thought.
thinks- yeah, he
the
thinks
thought
about-
the thought.
Yes. Yes.
And he
He'll
takes it a
spend
step
a good
further
long time before he talks. I love
before
it.
he makes a point, and then it's like, okay, I don't know what you just said.
He's got a vocabulary that's
Oh,
just,
it's great.
You can't
The
make
guy
that
can
up.
speak. But that's the thing is if you're not capable of being monster, you're there's no virtue in the piece.
Right.
Right. You have to actually be
you got
formidable.
to say that in Jordan Peterson's voice.
Oh my
you're
gosh,
not
dude!
if you're not capable
I will
of
pay
being-
Brandon hundreds of
you're not
dollars if he can
capable
come
of
back
being
here
the
with a
monster.
perfect
If
Jordan.
If you're not
Peterson
capable,
not
they have the
If you're
yeah.
not capable,
yeah.
That's not
It's
bad.
a hard one to
if you're
do.
not capable of being the monster. What was the second part of it?
but really, it's like a mouse.
There's
saying,
no virtue.
it's like a mouse saying,
There's
that
no
they're-
Don't worry,
virtue
I
in the
won't hurt you.
piece.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah, it's like a
you're
mouse saying, "Don't worry, I won't hurt you."
Yeah.
Right. We know.
Good,
we
I
are.
wasn't worried about it.
Right.
Yeah.
No. So I think we have abandoned, and we have we've given in to the societal pressure as men to not be that monster and be capable of protecting our families and protecting our virtues and our morals. And so society has gotten to this point where there's no such thing as a moral anymore.
Yeah.
Like the weird person is the guy who's wearing the shirt that says you need Jesus.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah,
when we talked about don't be weird. I was like, well, maybe just be weird, but not a certain kind of weird. You can be weird the right way
yeah,
and it'll
yeah,
be good.
yeah, yeah.
No, right.
Because pretty soon,
Weird
being
is gonna-
godly is going to be
Right.
weird.
It-
and it
it
already
already
kind of
is.
is.
Weird is just different.
Yeah.
You
Weird
know,
is just different.
at this point, like you have a whole chunk of society who looks at
Your morals are what you make them
yeah.
in today's society.
And obviously in our society there's no moral grounds because if there were, we'd all be storming Washington and taking all these pedophiles out, you know? But you know, who's doing what?
Yeah.
We're all just sitting around waiting for somebody to do something. And I'm not saying we should go storm the Capitol today. I'd like to, but you know,
We'll do
that's-
it tomorrow.
you know, it's late and we got to get some sleep. But the idea of the leniency and the passiveness that has come over everybody, and we're too afraid to tell people what they need to hear because it might hurt their feelings or it might make the relationship bad or it might now you're the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. Well, that's what we're called to do. We're called to be the guy who tells you when you're full of shit.
Who speaks truth?
Yeah. If you're full of shit, you're full of shit. I'm going to tell you that. Right?
And if you don't, that's hate. You know,
Yes.
you're harming that person.
You absolutely are.
Yeah.
You're not helping them.
Yeah.
You have to.
And
have to
you
do that.
can't be a dick. You can't do it out of anger, right?
No, you
simply
do it out of love
you
and compassion.
simply speak the truth in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, you're trying to teach them that they have a place in this world that is greater than what they're living. Right? It's like any coach that you ever had that coached you hard.
Right.
Right? You're like, oh, he's picking on me. No, he's trying to make you better.
Yeah.
It's when
Yeah,
coach stops talking to you that you know you suck.
Yes.
And you're like they've
Yes.
given up on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Right. And the same thing.
Absolutely.
That's the same thing with friends. Like if your friends stop harping
Making
on you
fun
to
of
do
you.
better,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they're not friends.
Right. Right.
Like they've given up on you.
Yep.
Right? If your friends aren't holding you to a higher standard all the
Yep.
time, they're not real friends.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
And it's tough to hear, but like that's what it is. And you should be able to take that as a man in society. You should
For
be
sure.
able to take hard criticism and be able to do constructive things with that.